What's up, everybody? Cinephile Mike here. Today, I am joined by jack of all trades, writer, director, cinematographer, and editor Yi-Chiang Lin to discuss his debut feature film, Afterword, making its international premiere at the Asian American International Film Festival in New York this August. Set against the backdrop of New York City, Afterword follows Chou Yuan as he navigates an unfamiliar city while confronting questions of identity, memory, and those stories that we leave unfinished. E, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today, and congratulations on both your debut feature and the international premiere.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. Thanks for having me. And yeah, I'm very happy to be here to talk about the story of behind this movie. Yeah.
So, you've directed several short films and built a career as an editor. So, what was it about Afterward that made you realize this is the story that needs to be my first feature film?
I moved here for the graduate school in the first place. I'm in New York. So before that, I already making a bunch of a short film and I kind of like work a little I worked a little time in the film industry in Taiwan back then. And at that time, I was like, hey, I want to go to New York. I'm gonna spend a lot of money, right? So why don't I just try to make a feature film there? Because I don't know how long I'm gonna stay in New York after the school. So I had these ideas already carry on before I move here. So it's more like I want to make a feature first. Then I'm trying to find a story when I really need to develop a script. I believe it was like 2019. I was developing this story, and I trying to find a story I can shoot a little New York, a little Taipei, Taiwan's capital city. So, I was greedy. I want to just try to shoot both because I want to try to shoot something about maybe my experience being out of Taiwan and or like Taiwanese perspective to maybe New York or to like, American dream. So then that flyer reminds me because in the movie, we see the character Chou Yuan in the street of Taipei and discover a flyer from a Korean guy, right? And that flyer was real. So I found that flyer. It's a very funny story because I was taking my TOEFL test. It's my English test to to come here to study. You need to pass the test, and
Yeah.
my English was not that good. So I spent like 5 times to take the test, and that's the last time. After that test, this was the last time, and I saw that flyer whenever I just stepped out the test place, and this flyer touched me because you don't really see this thing in Taiwan. Like, yeah, we have a flyer around, but like you don't see this type of a flyer. It's not common. I just say that. So I took a picture. At that time, I was just like, oh, this is an interesting thing, and I just took a picture, and that's it. And fast forward to 2019, I rediscovered this flyer, and so oh, it could be a good idea to explore like a full story of someone coming to New York, try to find a person. But I was trying to take some idea about, oh, maybe that person never be found, something like that. So this is originally the ideas of the story, and but it's really because I was trying to make a feature film because I feel like I have some unhappy experience to making short film because making short I'm not saying like short film is not good, but just like I feel like short film is you need to be very precise to your story and the visual language. And I feel like I don't think I'm not really good at it. I always have a lot of things to say. So I was thinking maybe feature film is a better uh maybe it's a different path I need to approach it to see how it looks.
And one of the ideas that really stayed with me is that not every story receives, a neat ending. It's that idea that sometimes the unwritten ending is the most honest one. So, what was it about that idea that kind of helped, in addition to the flyer, to build this world?
I feel this is also another interesting fun story because I think this is a mindset about the what you ask is about the unwritten story, unwritten ending to be the maybe the honest ending at some point to something or some relationship with people. And in the real life, I was not kind of like a person like this. I was opposite. I was like when something happened, I need an answer. Otherwise, I couldn't get over it.
Right.
So
Same.
I feel like I don't want to be that kind of person, but like you cannot really just change your personality, right? So I trying to build this mindset to the story and also, giving myself a positive energy as well. So I think that's a kind of like a thing I'm trying to be. I see myself back in the days or like my friends around me because I took a lot like reference from my real life friend in this story. So I just trying to do something like, yeah, trying to put something like you cannot really achieve it in real life and put something in the movie and the story. And this mindset behind this. Yeah.
And so you've said that this was also inspired partly your first time coming to New York. So your lead performer, Leon Lee, he carries so much of the emotional weight of the film through these, quiet observations he has walking through the city, going different places. What were your conversations with him like as you worked together to shape his performance?
I'm very glad you asked this question because Leon, he's not a professional actor.
Ah,
He is a filmmaker, but like he didn't go to a film school. And at that time, uh, when I started into pre-production and I feel very insecure, I really need someone I can fully trust. And
mhm.
Leon, we actually a real life friend. We are close friends for years.
Okay, nice.
And but I didn't thought about him in the first place. In the beginning, I still trying to look in someone like professional actor. But somehow it reminds him, and I feel like first I feel like he's a good-looking person, so he looks good on the camera, and I try to pitch this story. I pitched this story to him, and I think at that time he was also a little bit stuck. He had a little bit lost in his creative direction at that time. So he doesn't know what's the next step. So he said, yes, that's doing this. And after he joined, I kind of like rewrite something to match his personality or match his real life story. Trying to build more like, the character stuff.
Right.
And but at that time it was COVID. It was COVID time, so we always just do a Zoom meeting. So it was hard. So we found a acting coach for him. And the acting coach actually did a very good job. I think it's his friend's friend with a theater background. So I also have a lot of questions for him. Like we always kind of like discuss how to because we only have like 3 or 4 months to
Right.
prepare. So how we kind of like you know giving like a general practice to be actors in front of the camera. You act in front of the camera, right? So, but in the end, we do a lot like a body movement practice. So it's actually very useful. And
Mhm.
I feel like Leon is a person like because he's a filmmaker as well, so he know
Right.
what is going on. He was not afraid to act in front of the people. I think this is a good thing. So yeah, I think the end of the day, just like because we really trust each other, so we can have this good result in the end.
And much of the film follows his character Chow discovering New York for the first time. So, as you were planning, how did you decide which locations would become these important emotional landmarks through the journey, like Coney Island and these things? Like, how did you choose where? Because there's so many choices with New York, and I'm curious to know how did you decide on the ones we saw?
Yeah, good question too. So this is the two answers. The first answer is like because I one of my biggest hobby is like just walking around in the city and
Mhm.
taking a lot like a street photography. A lot of location, a lot of spot. I feel I like it just because I usually go there, and sometimes when you took a photo in my daily routine, I just walk by. I just try to remember like every location to build a list when I doing a location scout. And I think some of like a landmark like Coney Island or like other places, they are much more like it's more like in a story. So you really need to go to that place because, for example, like Chinatown, you need to go to Chinatown because it's in the story. But a lot like street scenes, you just basically just like because I used to hang out there, and
Mhm.
also because this is a low budget filmmaking. So our holding place is my apartment. So I live in Astoria, Queens.
Okay.
So you can see like because we don't have a budget, we only have my apartment as a holding place. So this place need to be a center of the map. So when you go to find a location, the Astoria is the center of the New York in the filmmaking map,
Right.
and you need to find other location. So you see, we actually did a lot of scene in Midtown and downtown because
Mhm.
this is a yellow subway line, like
Yeah.
NW train, R train, so it's
Yep.
easier to move.
Know them
So
well.
yeah, so a lot of things is about the real um the budget thing. But also a lot of things just because I hang out most of the places when I have a free time. Yeah.
And who doesn't love hanging out in Coney Island?
Like Coney Island is a very particular. It's different. Like I don't go to Coney Island a lot, but like I feel like Coney Island giving a dreamy
Right.
vibe, and it's I'm not the only one shooting Coney Island. I feel like a lot of people, whenever they need a surreal moment, they go to
Yeah.
Coney Island. So I'm not the first one. Yeah, yeah.
So you served as the film's cinematographer, and with one notable exception, one scene that I don't want to spoil for anyone before they see the film, you chose to tell the story almost entirely in black and white. What inspired that visual approach, and what did, that monochrome take allow you to express that maybe color wouldn't have done?
Yeah. I think the same answer is coming from the budget. We don't have the money, so it's very interesting. At that time, we try to reach out a lot of DPs, but we can really afford the price. And my AD, my assistant director, just told me, "Oh, why don't you just DP yourself? Because it's an independent project. Yeah, let's do
Right.
some DIY film." And I was like, "Yeah, why not? Maybe I mean, I'm not a professional DP, but at that time I took a lot like black and white photos.
Right.
So I think about, oh, maybe I can do this in black and white because black and white in production wise could be easier because we also don't have much budget for the production design.
Okay.
So we cannot really control the color in the background, and
Hmm.
also because we have a lot of scene on the street. So I think like a black and white just kind of like diffuse the color distraction, just like just black and white. So I think it's more concentrating to not just the for the audience also, but also for the production. So I think that's a kind of like a story. Um, yeah, I doing this black and white because the budget, but then later on I feel like, oh, black and white is actually very fit the story and the character at some point. So it's a win-win situation in the end. Yeah.
Nice. And now hearing you talk and hearing about how, Leon is not, not an actor, so you worked with him and, you wore, like you said, and it was partly budget, right? You wore every creative hat on this production, writer, director, cinematographer, editor. You kind of pulled the Sean Baker thing like he did with Honora, which took all the Oscars, right? He won all four of those prizes and worked with actors who weren't as established. And that's a lot to take on with your first feature film. So, how did you balance all of those responsibilities while making sure that each one got equal attention to create the final product?
Yeah, this is some strategy happening on set because I have to be directing and also operating the camera at the same time, right? So I minimize the camera movement, a lot of shot just on the tripod and fix. The minimum movement just a little pan in a movie because I also need to I also need to see the acting at the same time, so I cannot really do the 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 tracking shot or like a dolly stuff.
Right.
So yeah, I think that's a kind of like a limit and also a choice. But I feel like it also somehow helped the film in the end because it became a style. So I found the freedom in the limitation, I would say that. And also I spend more time to hang out with actors to rehearse more and more before that because I kind of like I could predict it's gonna be happen on set, so I trying to do more stuff to avoid those things happens. So I feel like in the end of the production, I feel like I doing good job in directing and cinematography. At least I kind of like balance it at some point, I think. Definitely this is something I can do better. I feel like look back, I think I actually did an amazing job. And editing is a different story because it happened after the principal photography, right? And somehow this project took so long. I edited this film for like I guess like a 2.5 year. But like definitely I'm not working this project every day. I just like back and forth because I have other thing to do in my life. So this is also a good thing and bad thing because like you editing this project so long, you feel bored, you feel everything is bad. This is a one thing. So you need to kind of like keep yourself on the project, don't give up. But also I feel like in the very end, I can just be an editor. I can just jump out the perspective as a director too. So I think it eventually helped me to see through the footage in an editing room, especially just my room. It's not editing room. So, I can have a more like clear eyes to see the footage and do the editing job. So yeah, I think it's because it's also my very first time to experience a film can take you so long to finish.
Mhm.
So I think that's just my experience. Yeah.
As you look back on this whole process, what would you say is one best practice, like good practice, that you look forward to carrying with you into your next project? And the other side, what's one learning curve that you might try to avoid next time?
Yeah, I think the first thing I definitely want to bring to the next project, I think it's like I learning a lot how to build the trust in a professional way with actors. Because back then I was making a lot of short films, but like making a short film is fast pacing, so you didn't really get to the time to know each other with your crew or with your actors. But I think a feature film is different because you work with these people for like a month.
Mhm.
So in the end, you can be the friend or like you getting know each other more. So and you get more comfortable. So I feel like this method, I think definitely I kind of like used to. I was a little bit afraid to speak to an actor a
Mhm.
little bit, but I think this
Yeah.
time I kind of like open myself, and I also saw them open themselves to me. So I think this is a very useful to build the trust. And you also with actor, you also really need to on the same page. A lot
Mhm.
like directing stuff, I really want to carry on to the next project and the learning curve. I feel like you really need to 100%. I don't want to say 100%, maybe 90% sure your script is ready because actually, a lot of time, I think this project definitely is a low budget, but at that time, I feel like I was a little bit rushed to shoot it because at that time, I cannot stay in New York forever. So at that time, I was like, yeah, I really need to shoot it as soon as possible. Otherwise, I need to graduate from the school. I probably need to go back to my country.
Mhm.
So this is a dead, there was a deadline there. So uh, look back, I don't think my script was ready at that time.
Okay.
So that's why, but because this film have some voiceover part, I actually rewrote a lot in the editing process and trying to change a lot like a structure by editing. It looks very different from the script. Yeah.
Nice. And so the film premiered in Taiwan, and now it's making its international premiere here in New York through the Asian American International Film Festival. How does it feel to bring the film to a city that plays such an important role within the story itself?
Yeah, it means a lot. It means huge. Before I moved to New York, when I was like high school and early 20s, I was like obsessed with New York, but not because of movie. The story is like because of rock and roll music. I really love the rock and roll music at that time, and I kind of like read like every story of like rock and roll history in New York in the East Village, the punk rock scene, the CBGB stuff, blah, 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 blah. Definitely changed
Yeah.
a lot. I go to East Village hang out a lot. Like I think at least 3 times a week. But like like East Village changed a lot. There's no CBGB and there's a lot of restaurant. I go to East Village for ramen now. But I feel it still means a lot to me. If there's a time machine, I go back to 10 years ago and told to my younger self, hey, you will make a feature film and you have a film screen in New York City and the East Village. I think the younger me wouldn't we're not gonna believe that. So yeah, it means a lot to me. And also screening from Asian American International Film Festival is also very important because yeah, I'm an Asian here. So definitely try to build more Asian story with the festival. I think it's very cool. Yeah.
Nice. And one last question. When audiences leave afterward, what's one feeling or idea that you hope stays with them after the credits roll?
Um, okay, this is uh first, I don't feel have a very strong message I need to tell the audience in this movie, but I do hope then can feel the sentimental emotion from the character, but also being positive to see the future, just like the movie, the ending of the movie. I cannot say it right now. You guys need to go to the theater to watch it. And also, hey, this is an independent filmmaking. This is a DIY movie. I also want the audience to feel my independent filmmaker spirit. Yeah, that's that's my answer.
Nice. Well, E, thank you again so much for taking the time to talk with me today. Congratulations once again on Afterword and its international premiere. The film screens as part of the Asian American International Film Festival on August 8th, 2026 at 12 p.m. in New York City and is available on the streaming platform. We will include information in the description below so that you can check this film out. To everyone watching, if you enjoyed this conversation, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more filmmaker interviews, festival coverage, spoiler-free reviews. You can check out additional great content on this festival and all the others I'm covering on my website, cinephilemike.com. But until then, folks, this is Cinephile Mike reminding you to take a break and watch something new. Ye have a wonderful, wonderful day.
Thank you so much.